Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today, we're going to be discussing an important first step to preparing for a water fast. We're missing a piece of the puzzle. You start getting healthy and you just become a better person. We need to start focusing more on the individual. Real quick, everybody, we have made some really amazing changes to our healthyalternative.org website. So I would love for you guys to go on the website, check it out, sign up for the newsletter. If you haven't already, we have some really big announcements coming soon, which I will be speaking about more in the future. We've also made some updates to the shop. You can buy my book there and other items. So check that out because we may have some items in there that you weren't aware of that will be perfect to assist you along your wellness journey. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about a very important first step. Okay, this is before you actually start fasting. And this has been kind of a running theme lately in the comment section, as well as my personal consultations I've been doing. Let me first preface this by saying that everyone is an individual. So some people can circumvent this first step, but I'm finding that most people are having trouble here. And that is in the area of eating. So I think I got a comment maybe 2 weeks ago, and the person was saying that they had to learn how to eat before they could learn how to fast. Now, I have said that in a different way many times, but when they said it that way, it even clicked for me. You know what I mean? It was just like, yeah, like we really need to focus on making sure that people understand, look, if you don't know how to eat, learning how to fast can almost be pointless. Almost. I wouldn't go as far as to say that it is pointless, but the reason I say that, and I've been at this for the past 5 years, working with people and building this brand. And what I have noticed is time and time again, you'll have an individual start a fast. Usually they'll watch a video, they'll get really excited, or they'll see a transformation and they'll want to get those type of results, which we get. We understand that, right? You have a lot of zeal. The problem is when they come off the fast, they either don't know how to break the fast properly, or if they break the fast properly, they don't know how to maintain the rest of the journey, the other piece of the puzzle, which is your dietary strategy. And I find it conducive to do that first, which is why you'll see in a lot of my prep videos, we outline a 7-day prep where you're going to change your eating habit, change your eating style so that you can prepare your body for the fast. But in some of my longer programs, where you could find, programs you can find on my academy, the AHA Fasting Academy, I talk about really taking the time to learn how to cook differently. Because at the end of the day, we don't plan to fail, we just fail to plan oftentimes. So what this means is you've been eating, cooking, or you have had a certain lifestyle for the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and then all of a sudden you're going to start fasting, and all of a sudden, like that, all of that history that you've had with eating is going to go out the window, and you're going to start eating healthy all of a sudden. Even if you do jump into a healthy eating lifestyle, what I have found is it's not something that's sustainable for most people. And when I say most, I'm talking 90+% of people that I have come in contact with cannot sustain that big of a jump. So we need to create gradual change, but it really needs to start with dietary strategy over anything else. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you have to perfect it. I'm just saying we need to lay some groundwork. It's really just a foundation. So, we're not looking to create the entire building here. And anybody who's familiar with construction, laying the foundation is the first thing you do, but it doesn't take a long time, right? But you want to be meticulous about how you lay the foundation. You want to test the soil, and you want to make sure that the foundation is solid. And then once you start building your building, you could build it really quickly because you're not going to have those structural issues. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Now, what are these main points with the diet strategy? And we've talked about this in various videos here and there, but I'm going to kind of reiterate some of these points today. Hydration is number one, okay? because hydration is going to be what is going to help your cells, right? When you're looking at healing, you always want to go to the cells and the kind of the smallest increment possible. So the cells become inflamed due to overtoxicity and whatever, and water has trouble getting in there. So hydration is key. You need to get water in there so that the cells can start flushing out. The beautiful thing about this process is when you start doing this, you'll start the process of healing. So it's not like you got to be fasting to start the healing, right? So, and I've got many videos talking about hydration. Check out my water playlist, and you'll see all the videos about hydration, and you can learn more about hydration because it's not just as simple as drinking water. Secondly, we want to adopt some type of alternate eating schedule. Okay. So I wouldn't necessarily call this fasting per se. Some people do, but my biggest suggestion for newbies is to always, always, always skip breakfast, because by doing that, it's the most simplistic way to extend your daily forced fast, which is what we get every time we fall asleep. And I usually will recommend that but from the time you wake up, don't eat for 4 hours. That's an excellent starting point. If that's a little bit too much, you can have fresh juice or fruits only during that phase instead of maybe a heavy breakfast, and that also would be beneficial, help lubricate your system and get you ready to digest heavier foods later on in the day. So that would be step 2 of this kind of foundational prep. Step 3 would be starting the process of incorporating more hydrating foods into your diet. So these are high water content foods. It's very easy to find them. Just do a Google search for high water content foods. Now I'm going to give you some parameters for what I personally consider high water content, just based on the information that I have, collected over the past few years and what I've observed. Anything that is 75% more 75% or more of water content is what I would consider high water content. So you'd be surprised at what is and what isn't on that list. But that's something that you all can do. We're not going to get into all those details today. Now, on the other side of the fence, you want to make sure that you're reducing the dehydrating foods. So increase hydration in hydrating foods, decrease dehydrating foods. And that would be anything that has a water content of roughly around 70% or less. Okay. And my thing with this is you also want to be careful with diuretics. So, drinking an exorbitant amount of teas, alcohol, or anything else that's going to cause your system to flush water, that's going to kind of give us the opposite effect. So for those who like doing the saltwater flushes and things like that, keep that to an absolute minimal. You don't really want to be overdoing it with those types of things because you're pushing water out. Keep in mind that this building this foundation, this isn't a 7-day process. What I'm really talking about here is starting the process of shifting your mind and how you perceive your meals and how you cook and things like that. So incorporate some new tools in your kitchen. If you don't have a juicer, this might be a good time to get a juicer. If you don't have some of the materials, a food processor and things that you need to start making food from scratch, this will be a good idea to get it, because the next piece of it is we're going to be moving away from processed foods and refined sugars. So that's going to take a little research to really understand, the different levels of processing and things that go into the products you eat, but the less processing, the better. So I always recommend cooking with whole foods. And then I typically, if I'm going to use like sweeteners and things, I like to go with the raw sweeteners, raw plant-based sweeteners. That would be, kind of the best. Or if you used whole fruit, you can use whole fruit in certain dishes to sweeten the fruit, which is like master level sweetening technique. And then the last piece of the puzzle, which a lot of people get stuck on, is reducing the meat and dairy products. And at this stage, we're just laying a foundation. All I'm looking for you to do here is just to reduce the frequency at which you eat these products. And don't make, like, if you were, let's say you say on Monday you're not going to eat meat or dairy. On Tuesday, don't double up on the meat portions, right? Take the overall your overall diet and reduce the frequency at which you eat, increase the quality of those food products. So if you would typically go to the grocery store and get a bag of Tyson chicken, it would behoove you to stop purchasing that really low quality chicken and go to the butcher. Certain places like Whole Foods has these wellness ratings on their food where you could get higher quality food. So that combination of reducing the quantity at which you eat it and increasing the quality of the food, it really does make a difference. And so that will allow you to continue to enjoy those different foods that you like and you're accustomed to. I don't want anybody to feel like you can't be healthy with unless you stop eating those things. But I'm just saying that there's levels to it. And so there's little things you could do to optimize what you put in your mouth. The last piece of this puzzle is to start finding new dishes outside of what you would traditionally eat. Okay, come up with a full meal that is it made from whole foods, something that you make from scratch, and really take the time to find a couple of these dishes that you thoroughly enjoy. That means that they're satiating and satisfying. Okay, that might mean that you need to go and do some research on YouTube, find some dishes, find some chefs who are going to be cooking these types of meals, and you might have to play around with some things. But during this, pouring of the foundation, this needs to be part of the journey. One of the biggest complaints I got early on was that by switching their diets, they felt like they were losing something, or they felt like they weren't getting satiated. That's not because it's impossible to become satiated or enjoy your food when you're not eating, the meat, dairy products, refined sugars and things like that. It's just that you don't know how to prepare foods to satiate you when you're not using heavy whipping cream and cheese and bacon. I've found that I personally have become a much more experienced chef by eating the way I eat now, because it really takes a lot more skill. You really don't have to be that skilled at cooking if you're making pork. Like it's already a really tasty thing to make. You don't have to even season it. So by increasing your skill in that area, it'll also get the juices flowing, and you'll be able to come up with new ideas, new meals, and things like this. So these are some of the fundamental principles for laying and pouring this foundation. And this would be amazing to get just a good solid grip on before you start fasting, especially if you've been doing a lot of fasting and then falling off, and then fasting and then falling off, or fasting, losing weight, and then gaining all the weight back. You don't have a solid foundation. So let's begin working on that. Putting our attention into it and really starting to progress. And don't wait for the new year. Let's get into that right now. Start this week, find some recipes, get the ingredients, and just get going. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. If you did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out my book, Metamorphosis. It's available on healthyalternative.org. And as always, the application of knowledge is power, and I will see you all next time.